Alright, so here we go with the books I've read in 2024 tier list. The first one, talented, brilliant, incredible.
Brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique.
Would reread again. So pretty, definitely 5 stars. If I could give it 6, it would be a 7. Next tier is A plus girly. So these are for books that I may not read again, but are still pretty good, and I would recommend to everyone, but I still really rate them highly. The next tier is You Done Good. This tier is for books that I think are good, but may not recommend to just everyone. I maybe recommend them if you're looking for a specific vibe, or maybe to some friends who I know have the same taste as me. The next tier list is You Were Average, I'm Looking for Amazing. Just your run-of-the-mill average book. You could take it or leave it. They're not like horrible, but they're not like show-stopping or amazing in any particular way. Next tier is Side Eye. This tier is for books that I'm like, why did you write this? To the author, directly to the author. Why did you write this? Who gave you the right to pick up that pen and start writing? To start clacking away on your keyboard and start writing this novel? So this is mainly for books that I don't like the writing style, or there are a lot of plot holes, or I just didn't like the plot of the book. And then finally, why did I spend money on this? That is about as clear as I can make it. Least stars. Thankfully, some of these books that I know I'm going to put in here are from the library, so I didn't have to spend money on it, but some of them I did spend money on. Kind of sad about that. So those are the tier ranking and explanation of each ranking. By the way, these are ordered from January all the way down to December. So we have a little bit more than 12 books. I think I have like 24 or 25. So let's get started. First book, Standard Deviation. Average. Look, I did not like this book because it was so boring. I don't know if I'm not in the right stage of my life for this book. It was just, this guy was upset that his wife cheated on him, which this is the same person who you cheated on with your ex-wife, and they're all like trying to be friends. The wife in this book was so weird. So weird. She was really entertaining though, but like weird. Anyways, he's like, the one quote that sticks out to me is, this man, mind you, he's like in his 60s, I think, and he said, "The world is going on about its day while there's an apocalypse inside of me." It's giving that one meme where it's like, that person is at a party and they're like, they don't even know that I beat Minecraft than everyone else. Like, oh my god, it's just so cringe. It's cringe. My friend actually really liked this book. I couldn't deal with it. It was just so odd. The whole character dynamics. I didn't even get to even talk about like the son. His son has autism, I think, some sort of disability, and he's like, God, I wish that he would just, smoke pot, like get in trouble in that way, because then it'll be like he'll be more like a normal kid. And his son is like literally just chilling, doing origami, having friends. Like, I don't know. The friends are a lot older, but still. I don't know. It's just weird, and he complains about how hard it was having a special needs child, and I completely understand. But some of the stuff, like, he would say, like, I wish he would just, get in trouble. It was just weird. It was weird. I didn't like that. Next, Homegoing. All the way straight to the top. Amazing, show-stopping, brilliant. So this book is about two sisters one from Africa, Ghana specifically, and one of them was sold in the slave trade. Another sister marries someone who actually perpetuated the slave trade and worked to capture slaves and sell them. And it branches off into a multi-generational story about how the differences between the sister who was sold into slavery and the sister who stayed in Africa and stayed in Ghana. And it's really cool. I kind of wished at the end the ending was a little bit different, just because it would have just been so amazing if, like, this is not really a spoiler, but if, like, he had found the jewel, like, in the Cape Cod, like, that would have been, oh man, if he was, like, looking down at the floor, then he, like, noticed something shining, and he picked it up, and it was the jewel. Oh my god. Not the jewel, but the stone. Oh my god, that would have been great. But this is something that I would read again, because it does have a good rereadability. It is confusing at first, though, because you have so many, you're going through multiple generations of two different families. So, like, of course, it's going to be a little hard. It's going to be a little tricky to remember who's who and what line you're in. But if you reread it, it becomes so much better because you already know who's who, and then you get really into the symbolism of the things that happen to each character. It's amazing. Oh, whoops. Didn't mean. All right, next, the Rachel incident. A+ girly. Well, I'm kind of straddling. For one, the Rachel incident was pretty good. I think so. This is like standard deviation, but for younger people, I think, because it's definitely not the same thing, but it has a sort of like same like gossipy kind of like slice of life feel that standard deviation has. So the Rachel incident, this one is a crazy slice of life, but a slice of life nonetheless. I think the technical term for it is called domestic fiction. I never thought that I liked domestic fiction because of standard deviation, but then I read the Rachel incident and I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe so. Maybe I do. So, I don't know. You done good or A+? I feel like if I ever have to straddle, it's going down. If you know what's good, then you know. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. In this one, I didn't know, so that's why I put it down to you done good. It definitely, now that I'm thinking about it, it is a book that I probably would recommend to certain people, because not everyone really likes the slow kind of pace, whatever is going on in there. Next, Song of Achilles. So, confession. I actually read this book in like 2022, but I reread it in 2024 through audiobook. And let me just tell you, that ending did not get any easier. I cried. I was sobbing, and I was like, oh, I already know what's going to happen. And then Madeline Miller just got me. She got me so bad. Definitely something that I would recommend to everyone, and something, a book that I would reread again, and I have reread it, actually. So already up there, S tier. Okay. Next, The Color Purple. Also going all the way up here. This was another reread. Oh, geez, I read The Color Purple when I was like in high school, and then I reread it in college, and now I'm rereading it again, and it's held up. It's held up so much, and especially as I grew, I was being able to relate and understand what was going on a little bit better to the characters and their motivations and everything. Because before, spoiler alert, but also this book has been out for forever. When Albert like gets his little redemption at the end, when I was younger, I was like, oh, why does he have to get redemption? He was so mean. He he was like a jerk. But as you grow older, you're like, you know what? Okay, Albert, go ahead, have your little redemption arc. Because people change, people grow, and people change, and you can't expect someone to stay the same. And especially after a bunch of things has happened to them. Because like Celie went and did her own thing, and then he kind of like, that's when he opened his eyes like, oh wow, I really am like useless. Like I need to get up. And he did get up, and he got out. He got out of that horrid mindset that he was in for so much of his youth that he tortured Celie with. And he was able to rise above that and to be a good man, actually. And honestly, that's what you should want as a person, for another person to get better so that they learn and they can realize their mistakes. And and he actually actively tries to kind of redeem himself in Celia's eyes. He succeeds in that. I think he succeeds in that. All right, next, House by the Cerulean Sea. Boom, A+ girly. TJ Klune was going to be my favorite male author. And I will reveal why he is not anymore. But when I first read this book, this one was from the library. I loved it so much that I actually went and got a physical copy because I wanted to have it on my shelf. And it was a used copy, and it had such a great inscription from whoever had it before. It was so cute. Anyways, House by the Cerulean Sea is about this man named Arthur, I think. I can't remember his name now. But he works for basically Child Protective Services, but for magical children. So in this universe, they have children who are magical and have abilities, and they get sent to homes so that they can be monitored and looked after, since they're a special group of kids that can literally kill people, perhaps, maybe. So anyways, he's kind of getting tired of his humdrum life, and you can really feel it. As a matter of fact, I laughed out loud just in the first few pages of this book, because one of the quotes was, Arthur was at least happy that it was Thursday, only to realize that it was actually Tuesday. And that just made me laugh so much because, same. But this book was funny. It was cute. The only reason why it's not on here is because some of the writing did get repetitive, especially when Arthur was going, you know what? That's not his name. Arthur is not his name. His name is Linus. I'm so sorry. Linus, when he would be in front of Lucy, it was the same. Oh, I'm so scared. Oh, I'm so scared. Oh my God. Okay, I get it. Yeah, you're scared. I understand. It's easy to read. It flows very well, and it teaches a really, powerful. It has a powerful message about keeping people separated from each other. And while these children are magical and they are special, they are still people too. They're just a little different. So I really liked this book, and I actually have Under the Whispering Door, and I want to read it. After a certain TJ Klune book, I'm not sure if I want to read any more of his work. Anyways, we'll talk about it later when we get to it. Okay, next, the reading list. Meh, I really didn't care for it. It's about it's differing POVs, which I'm already meh about. I really only cared about Mukesh's point of view, but basically these two people, Mukesh's wife had recently passed away, and he's going through it. His daughters are trying to help, but they're kind of being overbearing, and he just wants to get closer to his wife, but he never really got to know what kind of books she liked or why she liked them. He finds a list, and in his wife's things, and he goes on a mission to read more books and read the books that she had read before, and it's really cute. Then you have the other person whose name is Alicia, Alicia, I can't remember. Anyways, she is dealing with a mentally unstable mom. I think she's depressed for sure. And a brother, oh my God, I just remembered I don't even think it's a plot twist. It's just a shocking thing that happened. But anyways, she's dealing with a lot of stuff too. And she's young, I think. She's 18. And anyways, they end up finding each other, and they end up both reading these books, and she works at the library or volunteers at the library, and they're trying to save the library, and it's all the mushy good stuff that you want in a book, a cozy read, but it's not really cozy. Actually, it's I don't even know how to describe this book because of that stupid thing that happened. I guess it's not stupid, but it was just shocking. I would have never even guessed. I thought that something else entirely different was going to happen, but nope. The shocking part I'm talking about just hits you like a train. it hits you like a train. Average. I wouldn't read it again. I wouldn't recommend it. Well, no. I'd recommend it to people who are like who love books, because there are like books mentioned. You know, you got Rebecca, The Kite Runner, To Kill a Mockingbird. Like these are older, Life of Pi. These are the books that a lot of people read or have read. So you're able to kind of relate and kind of like go back to the feeling when you first read it. So that's really cool. But like the story itself, meh. Like I said, I only really cared for Mukesh's point of view. When the Sun Sets. Okay. I feel so bad because I was so excited to read it, and I was posting about it, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited. It's a Arthur Morgan fan fiction that turned into a novel. No, it was not. It was a mixture of men, which I guess, duh, you can't have like the Arthur Morgan be in your book, but like, come on. The plot holes, why did the main character need to die? I don't even remember any of their names. I do not remember any of their names, and maybe it's because I read it like super early in the year, but honestly, there was too many characters. So many of them like just died off, so it's like, what's the point? The plot holes, why did this man need to kill his daughter so bad? Why not just let her go? Like, I'm confused. Like, he went through all this trouble, and for what? And, oh my god, it was so long, like 500 pages of okay writing, like, and a bunch of plot holes. And you know what? To be fair, though, this book was kind of marketed as just like a straight like smut book, but I expect more from my smut books. I expect a good plot from my smut. Okay, call me pretentious, but I hold my smut books to a higher standard. Okay, you can have both. You can have both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I've read books where there's smut and a good story. Ice Planet Barbarians. Anyways, so side eye, Bride. A+ girly. I would recommend Bride for a lot of people. I mean, it's Ali Hazelwood's first kind of sci-fi supernatural novel, and she did a pretty darn good job. And it's funny because like all of her protagonists are in STEM, and even this one, even though like it is important to the story, but it's not like pushed narratively. She just so happens to be like, a computer whiz, which is really cool. Which, I mean, if you're a vampire and living for like centuries, you might as well learn how to use technology really well. I mean, it's not going away. So it's about this forced marriage between a vampire and werewolf, and it's really cool how they kind of like set up the world. I like the world building. It wasn't too like expository. It was like peppered in throughout the book, which I, like I said, thought was really nice. And the smut was good too, the smut scene. But it wasn't, I wouldn't say it's a smut book though, because there's not a lot. I think there's maybe 2, 3 if you count the epilogue. Maybe. I can't even remember, to be honest. It has been so long. But I would definitely reread it again. But the only problem is that Ali Hazelwood does not know how to write children. Because I swear that, I forgot her name. Lo's little sister. By the way, Lo. Oh my god, that name. Ugh. That name, it makes me mad. Lowe's. It just reminds me of the hardware store. I can't do it. Anyways, Lo's little sister, I think her name is like Annabelle or something like that. She's like said to be like maybe 5 or 6, or maybe she's like 7, but she acts like a 2-year-old. When I was reading this book, I was thinking to myself, look, I work with kids and I have like younger kids in my family and I see them pretty often and they do not act like this. Why is this freaking like 7-year-old talking like a baby? Like, get out of here. I literally had to look up like how old is she again, and I couldn't couldn't deal with it. So that's why A+ girly for Bride. Good job, Ali Hazelwood. And I will say also writing wasn't too bad. I mean, I read her first book, Life Hypothesis, and I liked it then because it was so fanficky, and I was like I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. It reminds me of reading fan fiction because it was fan fiction. But since then, like I have not read any of her books until Bride, and honestly, it like I could see the difference. I could see her writing getting better, to be honest. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but I definitely have, and it's really cool. I really like it. Anyways, next up is The Wisteria Society for Lady Scoundrels. I'm going to put it at You Done Good. A lot of people in my book club hated this book. Thought it was really annoying. And I'm like, you know what? I liked it. Was it hard to follow at times? Yes. Yes, it was. But was it funny and crazy and extraordinary? Yes. Extraordinary meaning like literally extraordinary. There's some weird shit going on in here. The smut scenes, which I didn't even know that this was gonna have like sex scenes in it. It wasn't good. I don't think it was really well written, but like you don't come to the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels for the sex scenes. You come for the crazy ass pirate women who have flying houses and can kick your ass. Like that's what you come for, and that's what you stay for. I would only recommend it to certain people just because of how the writing is. It's really hard to get into because sometimes I would find myself like rereading a passage over and over again because of like I'm like, wait, what? What's happening? It is a little bit hard to follow, but once you get used to it, you actually like. I have an appreciation for India Holton's writing. Would I get the second book? Probably not. I think this was enough. One was enough for me, but it was really cool. I did enjoy it. This is about some. Honestly, I don't even know how to describe what this book is about. So much stuff happens in the book. Like, so much. Like, I'm not even sure. Like, I really don't know how to describe this book. It's wild. It's funny. It's kind of. It's that, like, slapstick humor that I've never experienced in a book. I've experienced it through movies, and I think this would be a great movie or especially a TV show. I think it would be so funny because I could just see the shenanigans that these women get up to. Like it's just so funny. The writing and how they talk and is really proper, but the actions that they do is not proper, and it's such a great like juxtaposition, and it's just so funny and ironic. So I liked Lady Scoundrels. Next we have Into Thin Air, and this is a memoir. I'm trying to get into memoirs, but just some of them are so boring. This one is not boring. I'm sorry, and I feel bad for doing this. But I'm sorry, okay? You know what? I'll put it up here, You Done Good. Just because, like I said, I feel bad for saying, like, yeah, the story sucks. And it's literally about how this man, John Krakauer, almost died on Mount Everest. And I'm not going to say, like, yeah, the story sucked, your writing sucked. Like, I'm not going to say that about someone's near-death experience. The story was hard to get into because it was just bouncing from a future event and then to, like, a past event, and then they stay in the past for a little bit, and then they go to the future. It was kind of all over the place in the beginning, and that's what kind of turned me off about it. And like I tried to look at the maps and like trying to figure out where the hell everyone was and what's going on, and I don't know. But I was really interested in Mount Everest after that, and it made me solidify the fact that I will never ever climb a damn mountain, because he even said like, even when you reach the summit, you're so exhausted and tired and sick that you don't even get to like feel any sort of emotion besides, okay, let's get the hell out of here. So it's like, what's the point? What's the point? Anyways, I don't know. I feel a certain type of way of people who do dangerous things for fun. I don't know. It's just, listen, do you, okay? Just, I don't want any part of that. Like, it's crazy. The stuff that nature can do, the hubris of men, like, it's a tale as old as time, really, if you really think about it. And one that I dare not repeat. So anyways, moving on. Next book, My Dark Vanessa. Good writing. the story was not good. I physically, like, I read this on audiobook, and I literally was like, I had to like take off my headphones and like hold them kind of like away from me. It's definitely a book. It's a good book. The ending was kind of not really an ending though. Like, nothing, like, I still feel like Vanessa wasn't in the right place, like the state of mind. Like, I was kind of hoping that she would be a little bit further on. But then I actually heard that the author, so the author at first said that this wasn't based on anyone's life specifically, but then she came out later and said it was actually based on my life. So it's like, well, now I really can't say anything about it because it's like something that actually happened. I feel bad if I say like, oh yeah, the book's shit. Like, I wish that you were healed. Like, I can't say that. So anyways, A+ girly, because I really, like, the writing was good. It stayed in the same POV of the same girl, or the same person, but it switches from when she was a girl to when it was all happening to when she's a woman after it all happened, and how she's kind of like living as an adult. It's so sad. It is so sad. Like, honestly, I don't even know if I'd recommend this to everyone, just because of how sad and how deep, not deep, but like traumatizing this book can be, or like very like unnerving. So anyways, My Dark Vanessa, going in the A+ girly, which now this seems kind of a little childish for books like that, but it was good. It was a good book. Okay, Upright Women Wanted. Straight into here, this novella is about traveling librarians in a oppressive government style type world, but it's also Western. And I couldn't tell you what the main idea was. I couldn't tell you what the point of the book was. I just remember reading it and being like, seriously, this is what I get. And I had already been a little bit disappointed in a previous Western feminist book called Outlawed. Outlawed was better than Upright Women Wanted, but it was still kind of like, definitely need to reread it, because maybe I just wasn't in the headspace for it, like in the right headspace. But I can tell, like, I can be in any sort of mind frame and read Upright Women Wanted and still be like, yeah, what the fuck? What the hell was going on? I don't even know. They're just traveling around, fixing books, getting books, replacing books, and having guns. I don't know. It's pretty good, like, female rage story towards the end, so that was pretty cool, but it was just not really my cup of tea. I wouldn't reread it, even if I wanted to. Like, if somebody said like, no, you really give it another try, really, I promise it's so good, maybe I'll reread it. But even then, I'll be like, how though? How is it good? Next is another memoir, Trevor Noah. Boom, all the way to A+ girly. So this is written by the comedian Trevor Noah, about just like tales from his childhood in South Africa. And he's really funny, and you can see it through his writing. Like, he's still so funny. Like, I literally could not stop laughing at the dog story, like where his dog like went to another boy's home. Like, and it was so funny. Like, I was crying with how much I was laughing. The rest of the book has more like funny tales like that, but it also talks about like more serious stuff, like how idiotic racism is, especially when it's applied to laws. When he was born, he technically shouldn't have existed because apartheid was still around, and a white man and a black woman, or vice versa, could not have a baby together. Like, their baby would be sent off to like a home, basically. The mom, oh my gosh, Trevor Noah's mom, oh my gosh, what a saint. I'm not going to do any spoilers or anything for any of these books, but I will say her strength and her trust in God, like, it is so inspiring. And her wit and cunning to be able to raise her kid in a society, in a world that tells her that that's not her kid, or that should not be her kid, you shouldn't have this kid. Like it's honestly, could not be me. Could not be me. I am weak-minded compared to her. It's really good book. Next is This Is How You Lose the Time War. All the way up on top. This is definitely a book that you will need to reread again. This book will not sit and explain what the hell is going on. You just gotta go into it raw and figure it out for yourself. I didn't understand what was happening until like a quarter of the way, or maybe even a third of the way, and I'm like, huh? What? Okay. Really confusing. And I'm trying to when I read, I try and visualize everything that's happening, and this book is so hard to visualize that first few chapters, and that's kind of what almost drove me away from it. But I kept on reading. I pushed through. I persisted, and it was beautiful. I did shed a tear or two towards the end. I was like, oh my god, and they're together. They're so cute. It was a really good book. It's about these two like aliens question mark like these two species of people. Each of their governments wants the other one like to be destroyed. There's like kind of like a metallic kind of robot government, and then there's like the natural earth kind of like organic government, and they want to destroy each other. But these two people things humanoids, they end up falling in love with each other, and it's just definitely, you have to reread it again. Like, I have not reread it yet, but I really want to, so I can kind of like, oh, that's when this happened, you know what I mean? Because it's about like time and bending space and time and being in different galaxies and different like universes. Like, it's crazy. It's really good though, and really at the end of the day, it's just a love story. It's a beautiful, beautiful love story. All right, next you have Drunk on All Your Strange Words. A+ girly. I really don't like mysteries, and I wouldn't even say that this book is a mystery. There is a mystery component to it, but I really liked the plot of it as well. Not just for the mystery. I really don't like mystery, but this book, I wouldn't even say that is a full mystery, because there's just so much more to it than that. So it's about this woman. I forget her name though. I think we'll just call her Cecilia. Cecilia, or I think it's Lisa. Actually, yeah, it is Lisa. So Lisa is a kind of like a translator for a alien. Earth has made contact with aliens, and they want to do trade and stuff, but the only way that these alien species can communicate is through telepathy, and they value the written word so much. So a lot of their commerce has to do with paper goods and books and whatnot. So like Lisa is in charge of being this, he's the director of affairs or something like that. Like, he's pretty high up there, this alien guy. Fred, his name is Fred. Well, Frederick, actually, I call him Fred. But he was up there, and then something happens to him. Lisa's trying to find out what's going on, because there's like some underground conspiracy going on, and there's powers at play that are like kind of like playing a game of chess while everyone else is playing checkers kind of thing. I think that this book would have been up here if Fred and Lisa had fucked. I'm just saying. Like, if they had intergalactical sex, that would have pushed that book straight up. But they didn't. They did not. So, in all seriousness, it is an A+ girly and not at the talented, brilliant, show-stopping tier, just because the ending was kind of like confused. I was confused as to why there were so many people in on this. Like, so many, like, I get, like, when you have a whole like conspiracy theory, there's obviously going to be more than one person who is, you know, a part of that. But like, some of the people that they brought in from the beginning of the story had a role to play in it, and I was like, wait, how does that even make sense? Why are you here? Oh, because of blackmail? Well, that's really convenient, isn't it? Like, anyways, so that was Drunk on All Your Strange New Words. Oh, and a side effect of this telepathy translating is that it makes the translator feel really inebriated, so they're very drunk. So she kind of blacks out because she's translating too much. That's why she can't remember like what happened. So that's Drunk on All Your New Strange Words. And I love that title too. That's so cool. I love that title. Next up is Watership Down. A plus girly. This book, oh my gosh. It is by Richard Adams, and it is a classic. Richard Adams like really is amazing in how he was able to create such an epic, like this is literally an epic about these group of rabbits who have to leave their hometown because of a vision one of them had of their hometown or their burrow being destroyed. So they have to leave to find a new place to settle, and they encounter a bunch of different stuff that's happening along the way. It really just shows that like you don't have to be the smartest, the bravest, the biggest, the baddest to be the leader of a group. As seen through Hazel, which is the main character, he's not the smartest. He's not the cleverest. That's Blackberry. He's not the funniest. That's also Blackberry. No. I think this is He's not the quickest. That's Dandelion. He's not the biggest. That's Bigwig. Like, he doesn't see the future like Fiverr does, but he became the leader of the group because of his tenacity, because he had the audacity to do the things that he did. So I guess, yeah, he is brave. He is brave. He is brave. So it's going to A plus girly. I would reread it. It is long though. It is a long book, but it's an epic. It's an epic book. It's an epic. So of course it's gonna be long. And that last scene when the black rabbit comes, oh, he said Hazel left his body there. He felt like he wouldn't need it anymore. Oh my god. It was so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love this book so much. It's so good. Next, Last House on Needless Street. All the way down here. Listen. It has one of the worst tropes, in my opinion, which is mentally unstable person or someone with a mental health disorder is thought to be a killer. Wow. I hate this trope where, oh yeah, they're schizophrenic, or oh yeah, they're bipolar, or yeah, they have DID. Oh, they're gonna be killers. They're serial. They're dangerous. Like it makes me so mad. And this book, okay, I am going to spoil this book a little bit. So if you don't want to hear spoilers for The Last House on Needless Street, then do not listen for about 5 minutes. I'm going to rant about this book. Okay, look, this book has all of the signs like, oh, this guy is a killer. This guy is a killer. And then at the end, it's like, oh, JK, no, he's not. These things were just like, we made you think though. We made you think that. And even though you play on this trope, but then at the end be like, gotcha, JK, like you're still playing on that trope. For the majority of the book, you are playing on that trope that this man who has DID is a serial killer. I don't know. It makes me so angry when they do that. When any sort of media does that. The writing was fine. It wasn't like spectacular or amazing. It was okay. But because of that trope, and because of how annoying the little girl is, like, I'm so, like, I feel this author says that they spent so much time with people with DID and they understood it, but like from what I know, from what I've studied in class, which of course studying in class is so much more different than like actually going to people with DID to learn about their experience. Like, you can't just kill off a person that you have, like, that is a part of you. That's a part of you. I don't know. Maybe you could. It just, from what I know, from what I studied, you couldn't. Okay? That is all I'm going to say about this book. Okay, and another thing too is that this book kind of like, I don't know how much I need to suspend my belief with this book. So on the back cover, this is not a spoiler, there's a cat named Olivia who reads the Bible. Like, okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I love that. So like you already know like, oh, okay, so like I got to suspend my belief a little bit. But then like it turns out that that's actually not the case, that this cat doesn't actually read the Bible. Okay, so then it's all set in reality. Okay, but then at the end, Ted, I think his name was, yeah, Ted, he like has some sort of magical connection, starts like screaming, hollering, throwing up, fucking spazzing on the ground for whatever reason. I can't even remember why. And it's like, okay, well, how did he know that? How did he know that? Like, how much am I supposed to suspend my belief? You made me think that this was kind of like a supernatural type of story, and then you don't, and you're like, oh no, it's all rooted in reality. But then you like pull this shit out at the end. It's like, oh my god, it's so much stuff happened at the end too. There's so much monologuing and so much like, oh my god, like there, oh my god, like you can tell how exasperated I am with this damn book because there's just so much. Like I said, there's so much monologuing. It's kind of like, oh, and I guess the boys in the attic were just blah blah blah, and oh, I guess the blah blah. Like he's like Ted is explaining all this to this guy that he barely knows, and like he's having so much self-realization at the very end with no therapy. It's like how are you this well adjusted, like suddenly all of a sudden so well adjusted? Like that's not how it happens. That's not how it works. That's just not how it works. No, I don't buy it. So, and I did actually spend money on this. Unfortunately I spent money on this. Never again. And I took that sentiment to heart because the next book I read was Butcher and Blackbird, and thankfully I got this at the library, so I didn't have to spend any money on it. What the fuck was this book about? What the fuck? Poor Summer, or Autumn, whatever her name was. They just left her ass to go running in the middle like of a cornfield, barefoot, barely any clothes on, after almost getting murdered. Like they just let her go. They said, "Fuck that bitch. I want to fuck this bitch." Like it's a smut book, of course, and it tries to have a good plot. It's not, in my opinion. It's not. Like there's so many plot holes. Like, did you even get rid of all the cameras in that one guy's house? Why are you having sex with a broken arm? I didn't like it. I also really don't like gore, though, with like my smut. Personally, that's not me. That's not me as a person. But you know, I have a friend who liked this a lot, so we got 2 for 2. And these were in the same month, by the way. So I had 2 bad books in the month of October. Bad books. These were not great books. Next is Wolf Song. Bombastic side eye. TJ Klune. When I count your fucking days, man. What the fuck was this? How can writing be so different? How can it be so different? So for some reason, my audio just stopped recording. So I blame TJ Klune. He did not want me to talk shit about his book, but I am persistent and I will conquer this. Anyways, yeah, no, this book was not it. If you ever have to say, but wait, they're almost 18, you're automatically in the wrong. Automatically in the wrong. Am I right? I'm right. I don't even need to ask that question. I am right. Because why would you say that? Why would you even put yourself in the situation for the need to say that? Oh my God. And that's just one thing that I do not vibe with in this book, okay? Another thing I don't vibe with in this book, the writing style is so annoying. I don't know if it's just Ox that's annoying, which is the main character, or if TJ Klune has somehow like had a ghostwriter maybe write this, or maybe he had a ghostwriter write The House by the Cerulean Sea, which I hate to say, because if it is his work, then good for him. You know what I mean? I mean, he got his bag. Not gonna lie. Like, wish that was me. But at the same time, like, how can your writing style be so different? The House by the Cerulean Sea was in third person, and Wolf Song is in first person. That is the only reason why I could think how different they could be, but, like, it's vastly different. Like, I had to, like, skim through House by the Cerulean Sea in the middle of reading this book, being like, was his writing like this before? And it wasn't. Like, I don't know where his writing, like, slopped off, but, like, this book, anyways, it's about this guy named Ox who dad left him and is raised by his mom, and he's like depressed or whatever, I guess. And then it's very much found family. The Bennetts move in next door, and he takes a special interest in the youngest Bennett brother. The youngest one. He is like 16, and this guy, this child is 12 years old. And there's like imprinting in this book, and it's not going to be a spoiler. Like, you already know that they're going to kind of end up together, or at least, you know, they're going to want to end up together. And this kid gives Ox, like, I think it's like 2 or 3 days after they first met, like this wolf carving, and is basically like imprinting. And I'm like, how do you know? You're 12. You are a child. How do you know? How do you know what you want? I work with 12-year-olds, and let me tell you, they change their mind so fast. It's not even funny. You'll get whiplash how fast they change their mind. I cannot stand this book. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to go this hard, and maybe I shouldn't go this hard because this is just a tier ranking. If I wanted to go very much hard on this book, I should make a separate video about it. But really, this book has a bunch of flaws and very little redeeming qualities in it. And the worst thing about this is that I bought the second book, Raven Song, because I was so sure, after reading Housepin the Cerulean Sea, I was so sure that I would love all of TJ Klune's books. How wrong was I? That's my hubris showing right there. Thinking I know stuff when I clearly don't know anything. That's my bad. Sorry, guys. But I will be keeping these on my shelves because I got the ones that have sprayed edges. So, you know, they're looking really cute on my shelf. I have to read Raven Song because I have it. And if I own it, I have to read it. And I don't know when that's going to be. I think I need like at least a year or two to recover from Wolf Song. I don't even know if I want to read Under the Whispering Door because I'm so frightened. I'm frightened. I'm shaking. I was crying, not because that the story made me emotional. It was because of why I do this to myself. Why do I force myself to read these books that suck? Why do I not DNF it? I should have just DNF. I should allow myself to DNF books. Maybe that'll be my New Year resolution. DNF a book. Oh my god. Anyways, that's Wolf Song. Like I said, I don't know what happened to the audio. I was editing and it just like completely went dark. So I was like, okay, I guess I have to make a new one. So if the video is a little bit messed up, a little bit laggy, that's why. Because I'm trying to fix something that TJ Klune obviously had something to do with. The next book I have on my list is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And I put that in the You Done Good. So for this book, I thought it was good, you know, but I didn't really like a lot of the characters. I really like the concept of the time traveling cafe, which is what this book is about. It's about people going into like not a lot of people, but like these 4 people, 1, 2, 3, 4 people going into a cafe and wanting to travel back in time. There rules and stipulations. You can't change anything. Nothing is going to really change. It's more of like a closure thing. So it really made me think, what would I go back in time to do but not change? I don't know. Probably something really dumb. But these people had really good reasons why they wanted to go back in time. And surprisingly, the mother and daughter one didn't really affect me. Like, I was like, well, that's cute. The story that really got to me, though, was the sisters one. And it was just a lot of these are just miscommunication tropes, which I really don't like. So that's probably why I'm, like, not really into it. I really think the concept is cool, and I would recommend this to someone who would like a cozier read, but really something that packs in a lot of emotion. But I didn't like any of the men in here. They all kind of were jerks. But yeah, I think it was just a good book. Not necessarily something I would want to pick up again or read the next in the series, but it was good. It was a good book. Next, I have Elena Knows. Does she know that she is going straight to the top? Yes, she does. She does know that. What a book. What a book. I really cannot say what I want to say about this book because I don't want the spoiler. Like, I had no idea. The twist at the end of the book, I was like, oh, no way. Well, I guess I kind of figured out in the middle. But it really, it packed a punch for sure. It's like to know what Elena is going through and for her to kind of perpetuate that same, lack of autonomy upon, look, I'm not going to say anything. I promise I'm not going to say anything. I have to not say anything. But it is really good. Now, it's a little slow at the beginning because you're like, what is going on? Why are there no quotation marks? She's trying to pull a Cormac McCarthy over here. But as you get used to the writing style, the story really starts to unfold, and it is a good story. It's really sad. I will say that. It's really sad, and it will make you, really try to be sympathetic with Elena. But when I found out what had happened, and this may sound really bad when I say it. Actually, it is going to sound really bad. After I found out the whole story, the whole truth of what happened, I do not feel bad for Elena. I'm so sorry. I don't feel bad for her. You know what? Karma is coming around, girly, and she got you pretty hard. Really hard, actually. I do feel a little bit bad for her, but honestly, she was complicit, and that's not cool. That is not cool for you to be complicit in what your crappy daughter did. Ugh. Anyways, straight to the top. I also hear that this author, Claudia Piqueño, I'm so sorry, I butchered her name, but she writes a lot of feminist literature, especially set in Argentina, and I would not mind reading more of her books, to be honest. If it's like Elena Knows, it was pretty fast read, too. I don't have the stats with me right now, but I think I finished it in 2 weeks. And that's with me being very casual reader, reading on and off. So, yep, straight to the top. Next is The Spectacular, which, you know what? Average. Average rating for an average book. This book is about a woman in the 1940s or 50s, I can't remember, who wants to be a Rockette, but her dad is like, no, you're a woman, stay at home and be wife. And she's like, no, father, I want to dance. So she goes dancing. Her dad is very angry. So she's dealing with that. And there's also an added element of bombs. There are bombs all over New York. And so her and her sidekick, a psychologist, go off and try to find who the bomber is, the Big Apple bomber, which actually is a real life person. And these are real life events that happened. Obviously not like the dancer and the psychologist working together, but apparently the Big Apple bomber was the first time that police used psychological profiling to match the victim, which that's a really cool tidbit of information. But the way they presented it in the book was the psychologist said, and I predict that he will be wearing a breasted vest or whatever. And then at the end, guess what he was wearing? A breasted vest, whatever he said. I was like, that's a little cheesy. That's a little much. You know what I mean? That's a little dramatic. A theatrical, if you will. But overall, it was an average book. It was a mystery, but a normal kind of mystery. Not a normal kind of mystery. It was a mystery, but a mystery that I can deal with. A mystery that I really didn't have to think about who was the bomber or anything like that. The father made me angry because he was just being a jerk. But, it's alright. It was an alright book. I could take it or leave it. Would I suggest it? Yeah, if you want a pretty easy read, If you like mystery, if you're into dancing and the Rockettes and the 50s, I guess, then sure, take a gander at this book. But for me, nah, I'm good. The next book is The Road. Bombastic side-eye to Cormac McCarthy. Why did you write this book? What was the point? What was the point? I don't understand. The repetitiveness of this book, I've seen the word ash so much that I have it etched into my eyeballs. It is so ashy in that role that they're in. Everything is great. Everything is ash. Oh, look, more ash. I take a bite of this apple. Guess what? Ash is falling out of it. It is so much ash everywhere. You know what? This book can kiss my ash. Haha. Cormac McCarthy passed away, so I gotta be a little bit more respectful. But still, bombastic side-eye. I really don't understand the point of this book. You know, I'm trying to think about it, and it just, all I got was humanity kind of sucks. Because even like, if I wasn't really rooting for the dad because he was kind of annoying. The kid was not acting like a child, but, you know, who knows how children would act in a post-apocalyptic world. But essentially, this is what this book is a father and a son trying to reach the coast. Which coast? I don't know. A coast. To do something there. We don't know. The dad doesn't even know, apparently. They're just going there. And they have to, you know, survive, learn to survive because there are people out there who are dangerous and who will hurt them. So, you know, basically just your average everyday in the world. You got to be vigilant, especially when you're with a child, because there are weirdos out there. And same thing for here, except it's even more nerve-wracking because they don't have food or anything. They're like starving all the time, which is another repetitive statement that has to be said all the time. They're starving. They're emaciated. You can see the ribs. Oh my gosh, this is so sad. Suffering, and guess what? More suffering. You know what? I don't like books like that because to me, books are an escape. If I wanted to learn about suffering or to read about suffering, I just go watch the news. All right? I don't want to read more about it. This book was sad. It was sad, but also, what does Cormac McCarthy mean by the autistic knight? The knight was autistic. What does that mean, brother? Please explain it to me. Someone explain that to me. What does that even mean? It was just so repetitive. There are no chapters. There's no commas. There's no quotation marks. There's barely any sort of punctuation. Like, it almost feels like this should have been more of like a poetry than prose, because his detail, the imagery, is really good. Almost poetic. Almost. However, the narrative was slow paced, repetitive. They get up, they walk, they sit down, they get up again, they walk again, they go to sleep, they get up and walk. And what else are you going to do in a post-apocalyptic world? Like play tag? Obviously not, but still something. Oh, and you can't even take a break and like describe the scenery, because guess what? It's all ash. From what? I don't know. Fires? Perhaps? Maybe a volcano erupted? Who knows? Nobody knows. And what does anybody know in this book? Now, my fiance did also say that the ending of the movie The Road, because he had watched that movie, is a lot better than the ending of the book. Because I told him the ending of the book, and he was like, that's not the ending of the movie. And I said, well, that's good, because I guarantee you, if they made The Road a shot-for-shot reference to the book, people would leave that theater being like, what was the point of that? There was no point of that. What? What's going on? Why did I waste my money? And that's exactly how I feel. I should have put it in the very low category. However, out of respect for the dead, I'll put it in side-eye. Next, La Pavona. These two are besties for life. If you like Cormac McCarthy, read La Pavona by Ottessa Moshfegh and you'll be right at home. The road walks so La Pavona could run or hobble away, if you will. I cannot believe I read this book. These last few months of the year were really hard for me, clearly. And I was like, you know what? Let's read this book that has been described to me as a book for disturbed girlies. And I was like, I think I'm disturbed. Apparently, I'm not disturbed at all, or not enough, because this book was just disgusting. I can't even tell you what the plot was because it got lost. It's kind of like you're almost seeing this town in medieval wherever, Europe, from a bird's eye view, and you're just kind of like checking in with everyone. I did not like any of the characters. The only character I did like was the grandfather of the children who were slain, which isn't a spoiler, by the way. It's like literally in the first chapter of the book. He started questioning stuff like, where's all the water? Who are you? Why are you, like, what kind of power do you have over me? Kind of thing like that, like questioning stuff. The lesson I can get from this book, the only lesson I can get from this book, is that when you're holding other people to a higher, like, authority, like you're deeming them as holy or as godly, just because they are titled that way doesn't necessarily mean that they are holy or godly or all powerful. Do you know what I mean? Or all good. Because the people in authority in this town are fucked up. They are so morally corrupt, it disgusted me. As disgusting as that grape scene. I cannot believe I subjected my ears to that. I had to put this book at 1.5 speed on audiobook because I couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, let's just get this over with. And why do I curse myself? Why do I hurt myself by not DNFing a book? I don't know. Maybe I believe I need to be punished for something. Maybe I believe I don't deserve any good, because people who think highly of themselves, people who have high self-esteem, who cherish and value themselves, would not read La Pavona. I'm sorry if you're a fan of this book. I just don't see the point of it. Like I said, if I wanted to look at suffering, I just turn on the news. I honestly didn't know what I expected. I just heard that a lot of people liked it, and I was like, cool. What's wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? And I was so close to reading My Year of Rest and Relaxation. Now I'm not too sure. But maybe La Pavona is like the weirdest of her books. Because I do like weird books. I just finished Mother Thing. That's a weird book. I liked Mother Thing. But this, La Pavona, someone get your girl, because she is going off the edge. She is so close to the edge. I could literally feel her mental breakdown approaching like a tidal wave. I could feel it. Or maybe it's just my mental breakdown from reading two books that are very similar in a short amount of time. There was like no breather between these books either. It was just one after the other. I said, okay, let's go. Let's get it. Let's get disturbed. And I did. I was disturbed by these two books. That's why they are next to each other. They are besties and they are sisters. They're twinsies. But at the end of the year, I picked up The Priory of the Orange Tree. And she is going straight to the top of my charts, because oh my gosh, was that book good. I could not put it down. It is about like 800 pages, a little bit more. It took me forever to read the entire month of December, and I don't regret it because it is really, really good. Each character, because it switches from 4 POVs, and like I said, I don't really like multiple POVs, but Samantha Shannon did it so well. Like, each character was so interesting. Each character had interesting things happen to them. Each character was unique. I really enjoyed Ede's perspective because she's like a badass assassin, and I love that. She's in disguise and everything. She's like a spy. I love it. I love that it was set in like old England kind of thing, but like not like even old England, because it takes inspiration from a lot of different countries. But I really liked how they had like the whole religion, the world building, I guess. Overall I like the world building, And I liked how immersed I could get in this book. Like, I really could just keep on reading and read and read. And I had to, because I wanted to finish this book in December. I started, I think, November, like the end of November, and I finished literally, I think, like the day before Christmas, or maybe the day before Christmas Eve. But it was so good. I wasn't even mad when I switched POVs, because each POV was like an epic in of itself. So yeah, I will say The Priory of the Orange Tree is my 5-star read of the year, and I completely lost myself in that book, and I cannot wait to read A Day of Fallen Stars. It's really, like, I'm so excited to read it. Oh, before I forget to describe what this book is about, it's about these 4 people who come from differing kingdoms and differing, like, territories and whatnot, and they're all coming together in various ways in order to defeat a dragon that is said to come back. It is so lore drenched. I was like thirsting for more. I was so thirsty. Samantha Shannon gave me water. Thank you, Samantha Shannon. I was thirsting not only for the lore of this book, but for a good book. And thankfully, Samantha Shannon delivered. Was I mad at her because some of my favorite characters died? Yes. I literally commented on my book page, like, Samantha Shannon, count your days. Okay. So, this ends my 2024 ranking tier list for my books. I don't know. I'm tired. I can't believe I just had to re-record, like, half an hour worth of audio. But here I am. The things I do for who? I don't even know. For myself. Let's just say I do this for myself. Documentation. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic 2025, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.